Sweet. I think I don't know if the recording's going yet. I'm going to start the recording. There we go. Welcome, everyone, to the Coaching to Flourish podcast. I am your host, John Andrew Williams. Raj is again out today, but hopefully we'll be back in the next week or two. I am here with Antoine Davis, you're coming to us from New York. Is that right,
Uh,
Antoine?
yeah, close enough. Greenwich, Connecticut.
Sweet. All
Mm.
right. I've got a buddy who lives that way. One of my dearest high school friends.
Awesome.
Um, but anyway, yeah. So here we are. And Antoine and I met, this seems like a month ago, but maybe it was just like a week ago,
That was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks
2 weeks
ago.
ago. Yeah.
Did a coaching session. Uh, Antoine is a CTEDU grad, a executive coach, and a model, right?
Mhm.
And I'm excited. I'm psyched to jump into this one. So welcome to the podcast, Antoine, and we'll see what we can do the next half
Yep.
hour. Dissect this coaching session. And this is the first one that we've done on Coaching to Flourish, where we have the actual client all of the session here live with me while we review the session. So I'm feeling pretty good about this one. Had a chance to review it. Antoine, any initial thoughts, comments, questions, yeah, ideas as we get launched into this space?
No, I'm just pretty curious about what we reveal through reviewing it, and it was a pleasure doing it the initial demonstration. So excited to see what we can pull out as well.
And before we jump into this, I'm just really curious, just for myself and also just to get it there. What was the effect of the after of the session? Like I can sharpen the question. Like what action step or what did you find was different after the session happened?
That's a good question. I really started going for like corporate contracts. I like started talking to my friends who are in the tech world and seeing if their companies would be interested. And lo and behold, they were. So I already have several leads and um, just still coming up with the plan with around that. But so I got the ball rolling.
It's got the ball rolling. Good. Let's do it.
Mhm.
Let me get the transcript also queued up. I have this ready to go. Ashley, if you could let me know if the sound is good or not. I'm going to try to do it the way that I think is the best here. Here we go. There it is. Hey, there we are. Look at us. Look at past us. Two
Such a
year, two,
difference.
2 weeks ago, us. Yeah. Here we go. I'm just going to jump in from the beginning, get to the time model right away, and then see there are a couple spots I really want to touch base on. And I'm so thankful that you're here and doing this. Let's jump in. So just really quick, where are you in the world?
Uh,
What focus, like where are you at in the training and then what's your focus? And let's dive into a real sec. All right, I'm gonna jump into we jump in really quickly. Here, let's just jump in just a minute ahead. I'm gonna try to get through the whole thing in one sitting here. So successful. What would be the measurable outcome that you'd get from it?
um, I I really want to say my rate is 250, 300. Um, and I want to say that I like half believe it right now. I want to say that with full belief.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then why is this important?
Um, just because, yeah, I just have a lot of things on my plate lately that require money. And I believe I've grown a lot since I said my original rate, and I've never changed it. And I don't know how to, like, I've looked at other coaches and seen other races, and I was like, I think I'm around this ballpark. So,
Mhm.
um, from what I've saw, yeah.
So what's stopping you from any initial thoughts, Antoine? Looking at
Um, it's so funny how much I move. You can see like the discomfort in my body when I was saying the outcome I wanted.
uh there's a tentativeness there too.
Mhm.
Uh and it's also a somewhat like it's odd because the words I feel like are confident. Like I want to be able to charge 300, 250, 300 to session, but the body language doesn't match. But yet I also think it doesn't not match totally either. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, it's interesting. I like this next question I go with. I'm curious the impact of it. I'm just doing it now. Just saying, I charge two. Let me go back 10 seconds. Here we go.
I've looked at other coaches and seen other races, and I was like, I think I'm around this ballpark. So,
Mhm.
um, from what I've saw, yeah.
So what's stopping you from just doing it now? Just saying, I charge 250.
I think it's maybe fear of rejection, maybe fear of, am I actually worth that? Or like, am I giving enough value
Yeah.
to say that? Yeah.
Okay. What's the when you sit with this question, right? Just sit with it and not move it around. What do you notice like physically? Wow, I take so long. You kidding me? That's like a 30-second question. What's that here? I'll get it for a little bit. What's that like as a client?
I definitely noticed that. I was like, wow, he puts a lot of space around this. It definitely mm, it has me gives me room to spin a bit. Not spin in a bad way, like spin my wheels to further my thinking or deepen my thinking.
Yeah, I realize I do this on purpose. Not completely on purpose, but I'm not doing it in the sense of I'm not really sure where to go with this.
Mhm.
Right now as a coach. There's a couple different spots. I'm thinking, okay, so, and I'm really, it's like a water with like a bowl of water with sand in it, and it feels like it's all swirly. And I'm just waiting for the sand to settle
Mhm.
and trying to figure out where is this at? Like, how much do I believe you as a client? Like, this is something that you're really wrestling with, or is there something underneath it that I feel like, so I'm aligning with you. I'm feeling your energy and feeling what's interesting. Is it congruent, not congruent? So far, it feels pretty congruent still to me. Um, but that's also the question of what's stopping you right now from just saying it. I'm sort of doing a congruence test. One and two, I'm slowing this way down on purpose because
Mhm.
I'm giving you space to exactly do what you're doing. But sometimes I wonder, is it too much?
I think it's good for me because I've been practicing slowing down. I just like I'm the type of to fill my plate, then get a second plate. And so I think it's especially specifically for me, it's like I want to like run to do the next thing, but this it's like, no, we're gonna sit with this and think about it.
Yeah, I felt that too. Felt that too. All right, let's see how that lands. Let's see how that lands.
Um, I kind of feel I feel like I feel nervous. I feel something in my stomach. That's what I'm trying to feel right now. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't know what it really is. It's maybe almost like the slightest feeling of I have a fear of heights and
Okay.
and like
Yeah.
if the edge is like just 10 feet away from me, like I know the height, the fall is right there, but I'm like comfortable right here, but I feel near it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What happens if you take one step towards it? Increase the uncomfort just a little bit. Can't help myself. I cannot help it. It's like, all right, you gave a metaphor, you gave space, you gave all the things. It's like as a coach, it's brilliant. Like as a client, this is very generous clienting right now.
Mhm.
Did you when you were saying this out loud, did you know that I was going to say, okay, like let's go, like let's take a step towards it to
I mean,
increase it, or
probably.
yeah,
Yeah. Just like, the inevitable coaching yourself as a coach. Uh, um, I felt that question coming.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and also we have to understand like the setup for this is somewhat, it's known. Like we're recording this. We know we're going to be doing this afterwards,
Mhm.
and at the same time, I'm trying to hit different exercises that we do in the training that need coaching demos. So there's a lot of stuff like percolating through. A metaphor like this, I mean, as a coach, it's almost like, yeah, just go with that metaphor. Um, we could have gone through this the whole session, but I think we let it go after pretty quickly after this. But let's see what happens.
And like the tingles start to happen. Um, like the fear of falling off really starts to grow. Um, yeah.
Mhm, mhm. Let's go for it. Let's so we get clarity around your perspective, your comfort level with your price and the value you're putting on your time. Is that good? That the focus for today?
Yeah. Sounds perfect.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. Let's go first into let's do an assumption chart. Let's go. So that finishes the echo, like the time model, the topic, the importance, the measurement, and then the echo. How long was that? 4.5 minutes? It's pretty good. It's about right for a 30-minute session. Um, yeah. Does that get there, Antoine?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that enough? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's curious to me to like how much, honestly, I put like maybe a minute or two, even in my hour-long sessions. I'm like, let's get it, let's get this and go with it. But
Hmm.
you put a lot of space and attention around, that's for sure. Are we killing, like, maybe my time model is like very general, like in a neighborhood, but you get the exact location. It feels like.
Yeah, and I think that's okay too. You know what I mean? Like when you
Mm,
do time models and you're trying to figure out, okay, like I think we're close. I think it's enough to get to how do I say it? It's enough to get close because even here, I'm not 100% sure. Well, yeah, I'm sure this is the topic.
mm,
Like, you know what I mean? Like we just got one, you got feels, you got a metaphor going. I'm thinking to myself, oh yeah, like, like it's good. Um, I just did a demo last week, which we'll look at, where I think I waited like 20 minutes in a 40-minute session to get the time model. Like it was a slow step.
mm.
Uh, and by time is like, yeah, topic, importance, measurement, and echo. Um, But I think there's also benefit too to going through it rather quickly. A lot of it depends on your clients too. Like if you've trained your clients to go through it quickly, that they know it's coming, they know what to expect, they jump in right away. It's all good.
Mhm.
All right, let's keep it going. It's amazing how much you can break down to 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes video.
Right.
To the negative, all the negative assumptions first, and we'll switch over to the positive. What are the things? Let's see, your inner critic or some of the most heavy things that you're saying to yourself. And we go right to some of the assumptions you're making.
Yeah. So the assumptions I'm making are like I feel like I have to go to the corporate world to
Mm.
ask for this kind of money. I feel like in order to get there, I have to ask my friends, and I have a fear of like looking weak in front of them, asking for help in this way.
Mm.
Um, I have a fear or assuming people will say no. Um, yeah, I think that's it.
What perspective do those assumptions naturally want to lead to? I'm not sure how much I, as a coach, I'm like, I mean, I believe where you're going from it, but I'm not sure how. I feel like there's something else here.
Mhm.
If I'm listening to yourself, what were your thoughts in this session?
Mm, I believe though, I mean, that's definitely true about like fear of looking weak in front of friends. Um, but like what I did to like I did ask my friends and they didn't say no. They said yes. Um, I just attacked the fear. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna take a swing at it and see what happens. Um, so and as I was saying this, I don't think I'm quite sure why I'm so resistant as well. Um, I knew like that is part of the resistance, but not the whole picture.
Yeah, I felt that too. I felt
Mhm,
like this. I mean, it's interesting to feel like, okay, it's enough for us to keep going with the session. Like, okay, this is useful. And I felt like I was waiting for another topic to drop,
mhm,
where it's like, oh, like I do this in this other area of my life, or, this comes up here and there. Um, yeah, I just was really curious about it. And I know we're using the assumption chart, which I think fits. I mean, this one works well enough. And so I'm trusting the process at this point that if there is a deeper agenda that wants to come out, it will.
mhm,
Not going to, I'm not going to try to poke too hard yet. Um,
mhm,
is where I'm at with it. Yeah, let's keep it going. Let's keep it
mhm.
going. I love this pause, by the way.
What need to that people are going to say no. Yeah.
And people say no. How does that evidence feed back into the assumptions and the fear?
Um, how's that feedback into it? Like they were right, or like you're dreaming too big, or like what makes you think you're worth that? Um, yeah.
Yeah,
I often feel like
here it is.
I am doing. I do. I definitely would say my past is ambitious, and a lot of my decisions have been ambitious, and but I've made them work. But I'm always faced with like are you sure you're gonna do
Yeah.
this? Um, yeah.
What have you learned about yourself within that process?
I'm like always kind of most of the time come up on top. Like I've actually, now that I think of it, a lot of those feelings where I'm like taking a big bite of out of life have felt like this. Like, am I really sure I should be doing this? Or but kind of just, jumping anyway, like jumping off the cliff anyway. And then they've worked out. Yeah.
Yeah, this negative assumption. Thinking, Antoine.
I mean, that feeling still remains true, but now I'm like I've jumped now. So and and I'm still wondering about the parachute because it's, a lot of it's still in flux, but I'm proud that I've jumped and it seems at least I have the cord in hand. Like there are fruits budding, but until I get the contract or I get a firm yes from somebody. Um, or maybe honestly enough no's um, that I'm like, oh, this is still like I'm fine. I'm still here doing the same thing, but at least I've adventured.
Right. Yeah, I feel like we've hit like at this point here, for me as a coach, it clicked
Mm,
where it felt to me like feeling into this where I thought, wow, this is instead of being something that we need to actively push away from, this is part of your creative process and it
mm,
works for you.
right, right.
So it's almost like this, it's like a perceived problem, but is actually, yeah, I mean, I speak to it in the session.
Mhm,
But for me at this point, this is when it clicked. And I realized, wait a second. In my mind, the deeper agenda here isn't, okay, getting 250, 300 a client, sure, that's fine. But the bigger thing for me is you have so much talent. You have so much confidence in your ability to make some hard things happen. I get the fear of being so big. What's really holding you back from being big?
mm, yeah. Mm. Are you asking me that now?
I mean, that's kind of, I mean, yes, why not?
I think I've been told many of times that like basically like who do you think you are? And it's like, no, I believe I can do this thing. And like and my peers in past have said like you're not that guy. You're not you're not great at frisbee. You can't do your own business. Like no one has done that. Um, like to travel the world based on your services. No one has done that. But I like just had a deeper feeling of like I think I can do it though. Like if it, I might be the first one to do it, but I still think I can do it. Um, but then when I like look out into the world, like oh, several, if not more, people have done this.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's something I read, I forget where it was. It was your dream, like living your dream will never be as good as you believe it will be,
Mm,
nor living your fear will never be as bad as you think it will be.
mm,
And I don't know how much I believe that or not, but it's just an interesting thing to play with. This idea
mm,
of, I mean, sometimes I think our dreams, living dreams, surprise us, like they're way better. than we ever thought it could be. And other times I get it. It's like, oh, I thought this one business thing was going to work out. It's okay. It's like, meh,
Mhm.
yeah, positive. I still am glad it happened, but I'm not like over the moon. Like, oh my goodness, it was the thing that's going to save the next 3 decades.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like there's a little bit of that here, but I mean, my overwhelming feeling at this point is as a coach is this is a useful process. I don't want to destroy it. It's almost like how can we build this into your like how can we codify it and into like make it canon for you? Like this is just a spot, like a milestone in this
Mhm.
space, not necessarily even a spot to even be avoided.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
True.
what are we in? We're minute mark 8:15.
Yeah.
And I feel like it clicked for me. And we'll see how it goes. I mean, see how I use that insight, this question.
It feels like part of a larger process
There it
that
is.
works for you.
Mm. Maybe.
Look at your
Like
face.
it feels like how is this one step along you know, like you know what I mean? Like, oh, we're at this train stop, and now the next stop is what? You know?
Yeah. Um, what is the next stop? I never thought of it that way. Um, Start really like testing the waters. Like, you don't have to jump. You can like throw a rock and see how the rock falls. Yeah.
So what happens when you throw a rock here?
Um, I can like just ask a friend that I know what's it that has been helping me, wants to help me, and I could just ask to like get the ball rolling, kind of shake off the fear a bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's shift to the positive one, positive assumption cycle on this. Let's say we're to flip almost those negative assumptions almost completely on its head, where this is like a strategic advantage.
Mm.
Hmm.
What would those assumptions be?
Yeah, I really like this question. Curious as a client, I know that transition was abrupt. I'm also trying to work in an exercise, the negative assumption chart and the positive assumption chart, and work them in pretty quick because I know we have short time, even in this session. What was that transition like as a client?
Um, it didn't feel that abrupt to me. I feel like in general, when I get coached, I feel like I come to conclusions pretty quickly, maybe too quickly, but or I feel like I satisfied like, yes, these assumptions are producing like these actions, and it's like freezing me. I'm thinking it's a problem, but maybe I'm just assuming it's a problem. Um, so I at least from what I remember, I don't think it was abrupt.
That's cool. I didn't feel like, I mean, I know that as a coach, I feel like I'm super connected. Like you're being a really generous client. You're in the space. The metaphor of jumping has come up maybe 5 or 6 times at this
Mm,
point. We have a lot of tangibility to the ideas, and they keep me throwing a rock, taking a step closer. I mean, I feel like we're definitely in this space. This to me feels like, yeah, I'm making a transition going to it. Let's just get a little bit more, and then I think that's our time. We might have to shift these coaching and flourish to be an hour to get through a 30-minute session, or we might just do part two next week and just rinse and repeat. Um, let's let's get just a little bit more, and then we'll pause it, and we'll have to put a pin on it, and then um, yeah, let's maybe look at next week. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see where we're
yeah,
at.
sounds good. This is an advantage to have this fear.
Maybe, or like, let's even shift the fear. Let's shift the fear to excitement. What happens?
Oh man, I'm really pushing for positive on this. Like I'm pushing you. I mean, I meant, yeah, the fear is a spot on this, but I want to push the fear even to excitement to see how far I can push it as a coach at this
Mm.
point. Let's see how you take it.
Nah,
There you go.
Yeah.
that's I want to say dangerous.
Yeah, yeah.
I get up. I feel like I'm impulsive sometimes, and I like just jump without looking, and maybe get to some trouble because I jump without looking. Um, but we are talking about the positive.
Oh, we gotta stop here. Oh, Antoine is so good. Oh, there's so much to unpack in that. Uh, isn't it amazing? As a coach, I went, so I found the boundary.
Mhm,
I found the boundary line.
mhm.
Yeah, it's a client. What are your thoughts?
Um, I mean, yeah, it was, I think this moment was like, at least for me, it was viewing my process as a tool and not like a detriment that I've like often found myself like the hole I always fall into. I was like,
Mhm.
oh no, it's this this gulping feel when you see the cliff, but now I'm more viewing it as like, oh, this is what the next level is. Like this is, you view it as like maybe from the other way, like viewing the cliff as the wall, and this is to get there, you have to start climbing. So,
Yeah. Hmm. At this point, I found, I felt like I entered into your mindset of, okay, yeah, it really is fear, but that fear is useful. And
mhm,
it's not like you want to just dismiss the fear because then it becomes like a kid who just jumps on a bike. You're like, wee, and then there can be some real consequences.
mhm,
Even then, I still wanted to push it and see, are you sure there's real consequences? I'm sure there are, but you're still here. You're still standing. You're still doing amazing things. Like,
right, right,
you know?
right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, that is true. You're your own biggest critic, but um, I think I'm also on this like I'm trying to unlearn like I think at the beginning of like my self-development journey after college or like really pursuing it, I got into a trap of like there's something wrong with me. Let me
Mm,
try to fix it.
mm,
And I think that is coming up in here. Like there's something wrong with me. Um, I don't know if I can do this because like I have to find the answer or something.
right. All right. I think it's to some degree, we're all conditioned that way with grades.
Mm,
You have grades that deliver judgment that you can't change without, I mean, it's not like you take a test and you can redo the test and get a different grade and like move on. Business is like that to some degree, but I find that business requires a completely different mindset because you can redo. It takes time, energy, sure, but so does redoing anything. But it's not like you're graded and then you can never like remake that money. You know what I mean? Or remake the whatever deal you have to, whatever deal was lost. Um, it's amazing to feel you wrestling with that necessary shift in this space. Uh, and also to honor the pit stop of, yeah, let's check in with the fear.
mhm, mhm. Yeah. Yeah, that really resonates with me. I think especially this week, I was like, there's several clients I offered a package and they said no. And I've been thinking of those as like I think I have the in the past of like this is the only time I'm going to see this person, so like it must be perfect and I must do this. I was like, no, like you built a good relationship with this person. This is just like not yet, not right now. And also there's like a billion people in the world. Like you get so many tries. Um, at the end of the day, like I didn't ruin the relationship. You're just saying not right now.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts on marketing, where we can get to that as and I think we can go into it, later on in this session.
Mhm.
But ideas around even taking the leap, putting yourself out there, uh, and you being successful matters on so many levels. That Yeah, it's an honor to be here in the space with you and to see you work through this with such generous clienting. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for doing this today. And uh, if we could maybe get the second half next week,
yeah,
that'd be great.
yeah. I'd be glad to. It was an honor to be coached with you and to dissect the session.
Yeah, I got more thoughts on it too. Well,
Nice.
thank you everyone for watching, listening. Let us know if you're liking these demos, the coaching to flourish. It feels vulnerable as like, hey, this is our coaching, this is vulnerable clienting. But you have any questions at all, send them our way. I'd love to get to them, and we'll have Antoine next week as well. Thank you all, and I'll see you next week.